Welcome everybody to Intensity Broadcasting. My name is Josh Hall. This is the Doghouse Racing League Tuesday Night Truck Series on iRacing. And tonight we're here at Talladega Superspeedway, getting ready for race number 1 of our Truck Superspeedway doubleheader tonight. Starting here with the Back the Blue 111, 42 laps here at Talladega Superspeedway. Immediately followed by the SCSRA season opener at Daytona. It is the Clash at Daytona, brought to you by Mission 22. Of course, the CSRA race will not be for points. It will be for bragging rights only. But here we got points on the line, and let's take a look at our points coming into tonight. See Adam Gardner up at the top of the board over Jonathan Jennings. Both those drivers with a couple of wins. Actually, it looks like my points are wrong here, and I apologize for that. Let me see if I can get that figured out and straightened out, and I'll get that right back on the screen there. Yes, I have no points for after last week at Dover, so I apologize for not having the points up on the board, but with Adam Gardner getting his third win of the season last week, he extends his points lead over Jonathan Jennings. But here at Talladega Superspeedway, we're about to have a packed field. So far, 31 drivers set to take the green flag as we see Mike Leftwich getting some pit stop practice. Jonathan Jennings out there running by himself. Looks like he's in the middle of a qualifying run. That 91 machine. Different look for that 91 this week. Couple of different looks out there tonight. How about the 24 of Justin McMahon? That's right, Justin McMahon running a different number tonight, running the 24 truck. He's hoping that it brings him a little bit of luck here tonight. Steve Gerber in that familiar number 8. Speaking of Mission 22, we see Jeffrey Wimmer right behind in the Mission 22 machine as well. Of course, the SCSRA partnering up with Mission 22 for a couple of races this season as well, so we'll be talking about them quite a bit today. Jeffrey Wimmer currently 12th fastest on the speed charts. See the 49 of Don McLaren out there right now. Currently sits in the 19th position, doing a little bit of drafting with what I believe that is Butch Baker in the 97. And the 14 of Jeffrey Engel. And for the 97 there, you will see 097 on the speed charts. 97 on the screen. See the 11 of Gary Clune out there trying to get some laps in as practice finishes up right here. And there it is, Adam Gardner in the chat. Hashtag Scooby Snack. See if we can get anybody else on the Scooby Snack train with him. But we are getting ready for qualifying. 5 minutes of qualifying. It does take quite a bit of time to get these trucks up to speed here at Talladega. Of course, we'll talk about it. Talladega shaped a little bit different than your typical speedway. And you'll notice that start-finish line is located right there past the entrance of pit road and actually at the end of the tri-oval. Let's take a look at the track map. You see that red line? That is the start-finish line past the tri-oval. So that always comes into play here at Talladega for that last lap pass, where most races would be over in the middle of the tri-oval. There's almost an extra couple football fields until they get back to the stripe here. And it always lends for excitement here at Talladega. Of course, after this one, the SCSRA is going to be taking on Daytona. So we'll see both super speedways here tonight. As we see the 78 of Daniel Wilkerson out on track right now as well. Ricky Williams out there trying to get his qualifying attempt in. See the 211 of Kevin Haas, that Budweiser machine. Daniel Wilkerson, first driver to come across the line and take the green flag. You see him right up against the wall, and we'll see that here tonight. A couple of these drivers might be right up against the wall on their qualifying attempt here, trying to get everything out of that truck. Of course, these trucks are restricted. They have a restrictor plate over the carburetor. What that means is there's actually a plate that's got 4 holes cut in it to reduce the amount of air that can go into what is the carburetor or throttle body, depending on what if they're fuel injected or carbureted. And that restricts the amount of airflow and actually slows these trucks down tremendously, decreases the horsepower. So because of that, you'll see these drivers wind their trucks up on the high line on their first lap. And then their second lap, they'll hold it right down on the yellow line. Try and take the shortest way around the track. Currently, Mike Leftwich up at the top of the board. Just ran himself a 55.94. Coming through that trial, approaching that start-finish line. Currently second fastest as Mike Samia goes up to the top of the leaderboard. Here we've got this 59. I'm going to go with Simon Srigas. Do you see that UKI flag next to his name on the scoreboard on my end? So, iRacer from over on the small UK island. Coming across the stripe for his first lap. So who else? We have Bobby Anderson just coming across the stripe on his second lap here in the 00 machine. And he's going to jump to the 7th quickest truck on track. As Ricky Montgomery just went up into 3rd. Steve Gerber jumps up in the 7th. Go back to the 59 of Simon. See what he's able to do as he makes his way down through turns 3 and 4. And down across the stripe. And Simon, oh, did he have enough time to cross the stripe? He did not. So he was not able to complete his qualifying attempt. So let's take a look at our starting grid tonight. And on pole, sometimes I hate my scoring does that. On pole tonight, we see the 44 of Michael Samia with Mike Leftwich starting from the 2nd position. Ricky Montgomery is going to roll off 3rd in the 2 with Jeffrey Engel in the 14 rolling off from the 4th position. Row 3, your points leader, Adam Gardner in the 56 with Jonathan Jennings to his outside in 6th. And Steve Gerber and Bobby Anderson round out row number 4 with Kevin Hayes and Gary Clune rounding out your top 10. Great start for Gary Amio here in the 22 machine, rolling off 11th with Michael Dow in the 12th position. 13th will be the 93 of Kevin Powell and Justin McMahon in that 24 machine, rolling off from the 14th position. Gary Maydew will be in 15th with Ricky Williams rolling off from 16th. Then back in row number 9, we'll find the 35 of Christopher Simon and the 13 of Chris Leftwich. Rounding out your top 20, Richard Leclerc and Daniel Wilkerson. Kevin Brown rolls off from the 21st position. Andrew Smith Snake Jr. from the 22nd position. I want to make sure I was seeing that right. Kim Cross in the 218 fastest in practice, currently 23rd on the board, with Dan McLaren in the 24th starting position. Running out the rest of the field, we'll find Ricky Hudges in 25th, Jeffrey Wimmer back in 26th, Mark Gilbert rolls off from 27th. 28th, Chuck Cobb, then Simon Sragus from 29th, and Butch Baker in the 30th position. And rounding out the field tonight is the 05 Isaac Salas. As the trucks get ready to roll here on the short chute between turns 1 and 2, we want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight, whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Twitch. We do appreciate you joining us here tonight. Don't forget to hit that like button, follow, and subscribe, especially if this is your first time here on Intensity Broadcast. It does mean a lot to us, and we really do appreciate it. Also, don't forget to check out our great partners listed below. Of course, Race EPI for all your iRacing setups and coaching needs. Visit raceepi.com. You can support our channel and Atlee Atman-Weiss's racing career by visiting intensitybroadcasting.com. You can find all your swag, t-shirts, coffee mugs, as well as some of our novelty t-shirts as well over there on intensitybroadcasting.com. And of course, we always want to thank our great partner, Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker is an established and trusted leader in gaming haptics. The award-winning line of Butt Kicker products lets users feel low-frequency sounds. Their products are used and endorsed around the world by leading PC gamers, console gamers, including professional sim racers. Patented design makes them incredibly accurate, powerful, and virtually indestructible. The Gamer Plus is a new and upgraded sim racing haptic that reproduces immersive, accurate, and powerful sim racing, flight sim, and gaming effects. To figure out which product is right for you, visit thebuttkicker.com. Of course, they have more than just gaming haptics as well. They have speakers and haptics that you can put in or around your couch to reproduce for movies and music. So a lot of options there. Go check them out at thebuttkicker.com. Of course, there is a link down below in the description. Of course, our race tonight is brought to you by Back the Blue, supporting all of our law enforcement agents across the country and around the world. So the field's making their way off of turn number 4. Pace car's getting ready to take that hard left-hand turn down onto pit road. It's the long wait down to the green flag. As we mentioned, that start-finish line well past the center of the tri-oval, and there it is. Green flag is in the air, and we are racing here at Talladega. And Mike Samia trying to get a good jump there on the low side. Mike Leftwich to his outside as they make their way through turns 1 and 2 for the first time. We'll take these drivers about a lap to a lap and a half to get these trucks up to full speed. Now they run 2 by 2 by 2 all the way through the field. A couple drivers making some moves towards the back of the pack, but right now everybody just trying to get their trucks up to speed. We'll see plenty of drafting here tonight. Forgot to use our buzzwords and our drinking words tonight. You'll hear me talk about the draft, the push, the side draft. They're all things that are going to come into play here tonight, as the more trucks that are lined up in line, they're going to have the most momentum and the most energy. Right now, you see how long that low line is. Right now, they're starting to get formed up on that low side a little bit better. Of course, you can use the side draft. That's where they get right down on the door of the truck next to you and dump the air that comes off the truck like a wake onto that spoiler to slow that truck down. Right now, as the field makes their way into turn number 3, they're still 2 by 2 most of the way through the field. Nobody really able to get anything going, but this is also strategy. We do have a couple pit stop cycles we'll have to do. Tires will not mean much here at Talladega unless you lock them up coming in and really burn them up. That's the only real worrisome thing that you can see with the tires here at Talladega. Right now, though, with the exception of drivers on 18th on back, no real big movers up at the front, as now Mike Samia clears the 60 of Mike Leftwich, and Ricky Montgomery give him a shove there on the low side as well to get that bottom lane going. So now we're seeing some energy down on the low side. Those two are clear out front. Adam Gardner looking for a dancing partner. He's trying to get clear of Mike Leftwich, and I imagine if he does, he's going to jump right up to that high lane and try to put himself in a position to race with those leaders as well. Of course, being side by side like they are, you don't want to get too far out in front of the trucks behind you, as they can get a really good run, pull themselves right up to you, and possibly even pass you. As they run right now, our top three have cleared that top line. We see the 8 of Steve Gerber also trying to do the same thing to get himself up in a position. Oh, one truck way out of line there in the middle of the field. Not sure who that was. I believe it might have been the 24 of Justin McMahon. It was a black and orange truck, it looked like. Got really out of shape there for a moment, able to gather it up. And we stay green. Another buzzword we throw around here is you see Adam Gardner, as I mentioned, going to jump up to that high lane. He's looking for someone to give him some assistance up there as Samia continues to lead. But another buzzword we'll use tonight here is the big one, and that is typically what happens when these trucks crash. Because the pack is so tightly together like they are, if an incident happens right up at the front, it's really easy for the entire field to get a little piece of it. As we see the 71 of Wimmer get himself down to the low side. A 73, excuse me, of Wimmer dives down to the low side. Now Gardner using that side draft back there a little bit. We got one driver that just dove to the pits. That looks like it might have been Isaac Salas. Not sure what happened. Looks like he was down on pit road already, so whatever it was, no caution, no incident, and we stay green. Of course, here in the Doghouse Racing League, we do not have resets, so if any of these drivers do get involved in an incident, they could be out of the race for the evening. As you see, Adam Gardner fighting up on that high side now. He's made his way up to the front, but now he's starting to fall back as Mike Leftwich was not able to stay right there on that back bumper. And he wants to, as the truck in second place, you want to get right on that back bumper and push that truck that's in front of you. Anybody on back, though, nobody wants to push. You would never want to push the pusher, because that can really cause some issues here tonight. As Adam Gardner is back with a push from Leftwich, using that side draft, trying to get himself out in front here tonight. Of course, he started back in row number 3. Now he's up on the front row trying to battle for the lead. Meanwhile, the 91 of Jonathan Jennings, who started next to Adam Gardner, is falling back a couple spots. He's back in the 8th position. Almost some 3-wide racing. Yeah, we got third lane now forming up on the high side. That's the 91 of Jonathan Jennings in the 00 of Bobby Anderson. And Mike Leftwich is going to go up there. They're 3-wide. They're going to leave Adam Gardner in the middle in the sucker hole. As now there's quite a few trucks lined up on that third lane, and they're trying to get something going now. So Leftwich getting that big push from the 00 of Baker. And now Leftwich trying to take over the lead as they come down the backstretch, and he's going to cut all the way from the top line to the bottom, out in front of Samia. And here comes Jonathan Jennings, who I just spoke about, was lost a couple positions on the start. He started next to Adam Gardner, and now he's out in front of Adam Gardner. So within 2 laps, he put himself up into the battle for the lead, as they are now side by side for the lead through the tri-oval, with Jonathan Jennings getting a push now from Adam Gardner, and right behind we see that 24 of Justin McMahon. Expect to see that all night long, just comers and goers all night long, as that 00 who is just battling up for the second position after pushing Leftwich to the front. Now he finds himself falling back. He finds himself in the 14th position. So he just went from 3rd or 4th to 14th in about a lap. It looks like he's continuing to fall backwards right now as well. But up front, it's the battle for the lead between Mike Leftwich and Jonathan Jennings as they make their way off of turn number 4 and down to the tri-oval. So these trucks running 60% fuel, unless we have a caution. I do see these drivers starting to hit pit roads somewheres between laps 18 and 22. Some of the drivers in the back might be able to run half throttle or 3/4 throttle and save a little bit of fuel. Now that middle lane's making some hay. We see the 11 of Gary Clune in the middle. He's getting a push by, I believe that is Kevin Brown in the 33. It is Brown in the 33, and right behind him is the 4 of Smith Snake. That top line now has lost all their momentum, lost all that energy, and they are falling backwards as Steve Gerber now jumps up into the middle lane, and he's going to try to make something happen here. Also, Samia just jumps back up into that top lane as well. Sorry, that was Ricky Montgomery. Ricky Montgomery up to the middle lane, up in front of Gerber. And now Montgomery trying to battle for the lead as they come off of turn number 4 into the short chute towards the tri-oval. Side by side racing continues. Steve Gerber's trying to push Montgomery the best he can right behind Clune and Andrew Smith Snake Jr. We ride along here with the 4. Ooh, a little lift there out of the 4 machine. Here comes the 00 battling back. That's Anderson up on the high side. There goes Clune up into that 3rd row. And we're back to 3 wide racing for the lead. Gary Clune up on the high side. Ricky Montgomery in the middle. Mike Leftwich down on the bottom there. 3 wide through turns 1 and 2. And down towards the backstretch. See Chris Leftwich up on that high lane as well. And now we see another line of trucks a little ways back, starting to make something happen back there. We see Kim Cross at the back of that pack. Looks like the 14 of Jeffrey Engel, the 10 of Kevin Powell, the 10 of Ricky Williams. And Kim Cross up on that 3rd lane. They're trying to move themselves forward. You see just how far back Adam Gardner has fallen back to the 19th position after just battling for the lead a few laps ago. Challenger up towards the front, making their way up through the field. It's Gary Armillo. Currently sits in the 7th position. Our two biggest movers of the race are the 4 of Andrew Smith-Snake, up 17 positions. Chris Leftwich, who's running back in 7th, up 11 positions. So a few drivers using their super speedway skills to move themselves up towards the front, gain a bunch of positions. Anytime you see that many big movers, though, you know there's some big losers as well. Jeffrey Engel down 19 positions back into the 23rd spot. Adam Gardner down 16 positions back into 21st as they continue to run 3 wide in the middle of this pack. These drivers know there's a lot of racing left to go. With no resets, these drivers want to try to preserve their trucks for as long as possible. So that's why you're not seeing a whole lot of pushing and shoving right now, even though we've seen a couple drivers push themselves out to the front, but you're not really seeing those big risk-taking bump drafts that you normally see later on in the race. As Mike Leftwich continues to lead over Michael Samia. And then the 211 of Kevin Hayes in the 3rd spot. Up on the outside, Ricky Montgomery getting a shove from Steve Gerber. They're trying to get that top lane working. And how about that? Kim Cross, we were just talking, and Ricky Williams, just talking about them a few moments ago. Now they're right up here in this lead group, up on the high side. As Chris Leftwich jumps up to the high side. Seeing if anybody would go up there with him on that 3rd lane, but right now it doesn't look like anybody wants to go with him. As here comes Ricky Williams down underneath with Kim Cross. Or Kim Kraus, excuse me. Just like that, Chris Leftwich was right behind Ricky Williams. Now he finds himself falling back into the 13th position. Well, the whole field is all in line. Butch Baker runs back in the 29th position. He is on the tail end of this pack. Simon Sriegels and Isaac Salas both retiring from the races. A battle going on back here. Steve Gerber now with a push from Andrew Smith-Snake Jr. So they're trying to get something going here up on the high line. As see the field starting to separate a little bit. It's going to kill the momentum, especially for those drivers on the low side, if these drivers up on top can find a way to get lined up. Smith-Snake and Gerber lined up really well, pushing on each other up on the high side. They need a couple more trucks, though, to make something happen, as Ricky Williams is now up on the high side by himself behind. Just 25 laps to go. We're starting to see drivers hitting pit road. Ooh, a couple drivers coming in a little hot there. Oh, one driver hard into the inside wall. Not sure who that was that made contact with the inside wall. Oh, looks like Richard Leclerc and Michael Dowell both having some issues getting on the pit road. We stay green, but let's see if we can see what happened here. Oh, just too much rear brake. The 17 locks him up. Catches the inside wall. Almost lands on top of the 50 machine. Tough break for those two drivers. That gives Kevin Haas the lead as more drivers making their way down on the pit road. This is the rest of the field all coming down pit road together. Ooh, everybody able to get it slowed down. Look at this mess onto pit road. Gary Madu getting the advantage onto pit road. He hits his pit stall first. We'll put that track map up there so you can see where the 44 is. A lot of drivers taking just fuel only. Again, you don't need tires. They're not as important here as they would be at a intermediate track. And look at Nadu. Gets a great run back off of pit road. And here comes the first pack that pit, as they are going to be up to full speed. And you see them coming up on that high side. What the speed difference is, as they have to stay on the apron until they reach the backstretch. Then they'll be able to blend up on track. And now the field all back to single file. Everybody has their service done. Everybody came in on lap 18, 19, as I thought. Is there 3 wide for the lead? Gerber in the middle. Nadu had to fall back a little bit. Those were the drivers that pit first. And Samia and Bobby Anderson are going to retake over the lead here. Wild moment for a second there. Everybody gets things straightened out. So we have 22 laps to go. And again, we'll see drivers coming back down on pit road one more time. See if anybody maybe short pits or if anybody tries to run it to the end. A lot of different strategies you can run here. I got a couple chats here on Twitch. Simoleon4630 says, let's go Ingle. And I think that Savio says he was almost caught up in that wreck. He was. But now he finds himself running back in the 26th position. But right now, that's not all that important. These two drivers, this is Jeffrey Wimmer and Steve Ingle. They were almost caught up in that mess. They've lost the draft. They are currently about 8 seconds behind the rest of the field. But if there's a caution, these drivers are right back in. As one driver dives down to the apron, that is Bobby Anderson, moving himself down to the apron. Didn't like what he saw. Wisely backs out of it, regroups. And the super speedway racing, that happens. Sometimes you just get that feeling that you see something that you just don't like. There's a lot of laps left as we're coming to 20 laps to go. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's Ingle's wife just joined the chat as well, all rooting on that 14 machine. As again, he is a little bit off the pace right now, but again, a lot of racing left. We still have 20 laps to go. It's about 50 miles left in the event. So a lot can happen in that time. We still have another round of pit stops. And as I mentioned, there's always that chance that that big one rears its head. That could take out multiple trucks. We've seen in some instances 15, 20 trucks wiped out in one incident. So Daniel Wilkerson came back down pit road. May have had to serve a penalty. It looks like he had a 30-second stop. So I believe he had to serve a penalty either for too fast or quite possibly a unsafe pit stop or pit entry, something like that. Right now we're back to 2x2 double file racing. So one driver trying to make it 3 wide in the middle here. It's Chris Leftwich pushing it in between the 17 of Mark Gilbert and the 33 of Kevin Brown. As Chris Leftwich has found Mike Leftwich, and those two are going to team up, I'm sure, and try to make their way back up to the front. Meanwhile, up front, Steve Gerber, Mike Samia battling for the lead. Big movements as Chris Leftwich dives again to the middle there. He's going to leave his teammate out to dry. Now he's going to try to push the 11 of Gary Clune up towards the front as Gerber surrenders the lead to Samia. And Christopher Simon now up at the front as well. We haven't talked about Simon all race long. Here he is up at the front of the race. That's just what super speedway racing does. These drivers go from the front to the back to the front very easily as these drivers are coming up quickly. On the 50 of Michael Dow, who we saw involved in that incident getting onto pit road, has quite a bit of damage. Now Chris and Mike Leftwich up in that third lane trying to make something happen, and we see Kim Kraus, trying to give a push to the 11 of Gary Clune as we see Dow is going to stay up high in that high groove to let the entire field by. So from here, if anybody was to make their way down pit road, they would be able to make it. So the pit window is open. It's just a matter of when these drivers are going to make their way down on the pit road. Right now, Mike Samia leads over Christopher Simon. Gary Clune, though, trying to make something happen up in that third lane. Getting a push from Kim Kraus. And Justin McMahon up there in that 24 machine as well. 63 of Gary Maydew up there as well, trying to make something happen. There's a third lane now starting to form, and that's the 91 of Jonathan Jennings. Back up on the third line. He's got the 10 of Ricky Williams, and I believe the 93 of Kevin Powell up on the high side as well. Now we see Powell, Williams, and Jennings all up there on that third lane. You see how much these trucks really move around out there as these drivers come around the racetrack. The air really starts to move around and move these trucks around as well. We have just 14 laps to go. Again, we still have another round of pit stops that need to be made. As Mike Samia continues to lead as they make their way off of turn number 2. Now the intensity is starting to ramp up as we have 3 wide racing 5 rows back. And again, these drivers have to find a way to get single file to get down on the pit road as Gary Clune now out to the front in that middle lane. Mike Samia, though, trying to fire back on the low side to try to get himself back out in front. And off of turn number, through the tri-oval and to the start-finish line. Gary Clune's going to lead another one, but here comes Jonathan Jennings up on the high side. He's trying to take over the top spot up there with a big push from Ricky Williams. Maydew falls back off of Kim Kraus just a little bit. That's going to slow down that middle lane, going to give the advantage up to the high lane, who's pushing the best right now. Christopher Simon's not quite able to get to the back bumper of Samia as they come off of turn number 4 down the short chute to the tri-oval. We come to just 12 laps to go. Oh, some contact between Samia and Clune. That upset the 11 truck a bit. He's able to hold on to it, though. He continues to stay green flag racing. And I'll tell you what, if we had a heart monitor on any one of these drivers up at the front right now, it would be up through the roof. Clune trying to hold on to that middle lane, keep himself out in front. Jennings trying to get a push, but don't forget, these drivers cannot push very long behind. We know that there's a very small intake at the bottom of the bumper. See if we can see it easily on any of these trucks here. It's a great view off the back bumper of Mike Samia. You see that little grill down at the bottom. That's all the air intake these trucks have. So when they're tucked up right on top of each other like you see right now, great push from Christopher Simon. When they're tucked up like that, it takes away all the air that could be going into the engine to cool it off. So now we are starting to get back single file. Drivers are now 2 wide as opposed to 3 wide with just 10 laps to go. And I do expect to see pit stops any moment now. Some drivers might choose to come in early. Some drivers might choose to come in late. Do see our first takers down on pit road. Andrew Smith Snake, Jeffrey Engel, Jeffrey Wimmer, all on pit road this lap. See if anybody comes down pit road this time. Just one truck, it looks like. That's Bobby Anderson coming down pit road all by himself. And you never want to be out there by yourself. You always want to have a dancing partner or two, preferably 3 or 4 trucks lined up. Is going to be quicker than one single truck by himself. Mark Gilbert, Dan McLaren, Jeffrey Engel all have made their second pit stop and are good to the end. And this time we do see a bunch of drivers peel off down on the pit road. Jess McMahon, Steve Gerber, Ricky Montgomery, Jonathan Jennings, Ricky Hudges, Kevin Powell, Adam Gardner, Kevin Brown, Gary Amio, all down on pit road. So I do expect to see the rest of the field coming down pit road this time. That's the 17 Mark Gilbert and the 49 of Dan McLaren, who are out in front of our leaders. They are on the tail end of the lead lap. When our leaders pit here, which it looks like they are all coming down. Well, most of them coming down this time. Looks like a couple stayed out. This group is Gary Maydew, Michael Samia, Christopher Simon, Gary Clune, Chris Leftwich, Kim Kraus, and Mike Leftwich, all on pit road this time. So that puts Kevin Haas out in front. Ricky Williams also left the pit, and they are the last two trucks that need to pit here on this cycle of stops. Between them, we see the 78 of Daniel Wilkerson, who already has come down pit road. I don't think there's any way that Kevin Haas is going to try to stretch it here. Although he does pass pit road yet again. There's oil on the track, put it out. That's what they're saying in the Twitch chat. Right now we see Kevin Haas just hanging tight right behind. Doesn't want to go around or be pushed. He wants to sit right there behind and save as much fuel as he can, because I believe he might be trying to stretch it here to the end. He was able to go 19 laps on the first stint. That would put him to 38 on this stint. Was he able to save 2 laps of fuel to try to gamble here? Somebody asked to put out the fun flag. That would be the yellow flag. Trying to tighten his field back up with just 5 laps to go. Meanwhile, behind, Jonathan Jennings leads the rest of the field, with Justin McMahon right behind, Kevin Powell. Adam Gardner's in that group right there as well. And this would be the race for the race win if, oh, there they come, Kevin Haas, Ricky Williams down on pit road. So they were gambling, hoping the yellow would come out. It did not. With coming to 4 laps to go, looks like they had to come down and get their final service done. See Maydew jump up to the high side. He's looking for a dancing partner to go with him, try to move himself up to the front to get the win here. Gary Clune, who did lead some laps, now he's at the back there. He's trying to find his way back up to the front. As here comes Adam Gardner up to the high side of Jonathan Jennings. This is a battle for the race win. Of course, Adam Gardner out in the lead, trying to go 3 in a row. See the slow truck there down on the bottom. That was the 211 of Haas. And Steve Gerber, looks like, was back there as well. And Ricky Williams. So Adam Gardner up on the high side, coming to 3 to go. Trying to make it 3 wins in a row. He won at Las Vegas on fuel mileage. He won at Texas on strategy. Won an all-out speed at Dover last week. And now he's trying to get the win here at the Superspeedway. There's one slow truck, that's Dow, down on the low side. He's going to stay on the apron, let the field go right on by around him. They're 3 wide on track above him. Gardner looking for that push to get himself out to the front. As they come through turns 3 and 4. We'll have just 2 laps to go. Of course, once the drivers take the white flag, that'll be the race. Oh, we got one up into the wall. That looked like Clune was up in the wall. Here comes Two drivers we haven't really talked much about. Here comes Kim Cross and Gary Maydew up on the high side. Jennings to the middle, trying to throw a block. There's Justin McMahon trying to stay right there with Jennings. Adam Gardner back to the middle. He's getting a push from Kevin Brown. Still 3 wide as they come through turns 3 and 4. Jonathan Jennings up front. Kim Cross trying to get a push from Maydew up on the high side. As they come down through the tri-oval, white flag is in the air, 1 lap to go. Adam Gardner trying to get a push from behind in the momentum. Trying to use a side draft. Samia right there as well. Through turns 1 and 2 for the final time as they come down the backstretch. Brown all over the back bumper of Adam Gardner. Kim Kraus now, him and Maydew have fallen back quite a bit as Gardner goes side by side with Jonathan Jennings. 3 wide behind. This is why that start-finish line is where it's at. Oh! Brown gets turned. Big wreck behind. It's going to be a drag race. Gardner trying to use a side draft. He's not going to be able to have much to it as McMahon pushes up off the track and Jonathan Jennings is going to get the win. Justin McMahon comes home in second. Adam Gardner in third. Ricky Montgomery and Ricky Williams round out your top 5, but Jonathan Jennings playing it safe and conservative there towards the middle of the race gets himself in a position to get the win. So gets a little celebratory tap there from the 24 of Justin McMahon. Adam Gardner again comes in third, and man, if that was not entertaining, then you don't like racing. Jonathan Jennings comes back down to the start-finish line, where he's going to come and celebrate his win here tonight in the back the blue 111 at Talladega Superspeedway. So Jonathan Jennings gets his 4th win on the year. Denies Adam Gardner of his 3rd win in a row. Let's take a look back at what happened here coming to the checker flag. Oh, just the 33 got turned around by Mike Samia. Samia up and over, up on into the fence, through the catch fence. That's where it all breaks loose behind. We see Chris Leftwich spinning right there. Gary Clune getting into him. And it just happens oh so fast. And at that point, you are just a passenger. And that allows Jonathan Jennings to get the win. Let's take a look at our results here tonight. And again, Jonathan Jennings getting the win. Justin McMahon brings it home in second. Adam Gardner brings it home in third. Ricky Montgomery and Ricky Williams round out your top 5. Kevin Powell comes home in 6th. Steve Gerber 7th. Chris Leftwich, Kevin Haas, Kim Kraus, your 10th place finisher. Mike Leftwich brings home 11th. Ricky Hudges in 12th. Christopher Simon in the 13th position. Gary Amio in 14th. And Gary Maydew back in the 15th spot. 16th was Bobby Anderson, Mark Gilbert, and Dan McLaren back in number 18th position. Butch Baker comes home 19th, and Andrew Smith Snake Jr. in 20th. Jeffrey Engel in the 14th, he comes home 21st. Jeffrey Wimmer in 22nd. Kevin Brown falls all the way back to 23rd. Mike Samia back to 24th. Gary Clune 25th. Chuck Cobb, Daniel Wilkerson, Michael Dow, Richard Leclerc, Isaac Salas, and Simon Sergis round out the field here tonight at Talladega Superspeedway. As we get ready to talk to our top three here tonight, starting with your third place finisher, Adam Gardner. Adam, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Gotcha.
Man, we talked about last week. Talladega is a bit of a crapshoot. You're trying to put yourself in a position to win 3 in a row. Still up on the podium, though. That's good points night for you. You should still extend your points lead. Talk us through the race, though.
That was fun. Hopefully, it was as much fun to watch as it was. But you know something? I didn't win because I was the only person that was cheering myself on out there. I had the broadcast going. I seen the rest of you all being out there quiet. Come on, people. What do I got to do to get you involved? But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. And we just tried to keep it there till the end. And I think if that big wreck didn't happen in 3 and 4 on the white flag, I might have had something for him. But either way, congrats to Jonathan tonight. That was a fun, I think it's his first plate race win. So, and I know he's been after that for a while. And Justin, I was racing him in our little head-to-head driver tournament we had going, and he just barely nipped me there. So, congrats to him. And I'll just take the overall good night that I had a lot of fun with. Yeah, yeah, that was self-preservation. I didn't like the way it was looking there. I was actually very surprised that there was wasn't any issues any sooner than there was there at the end. Um, I know I had a few close calls with some bumps, and it seemed like most of the time the trucks would line up just right, but every now and then, if you caught it just wrong, it would lift the rear tires. So everybody was pushing there at the end, and you know, it was a hard run.
And I just realized I had my mic muted when I asked that question. So the question was, at the beginning, he was up at the front. He started 6th, moved up to the front, and then fell back to the back. I asked if that was a preservation or if it was just bad luck, and it was preservation. So, again, though, great run for you here tonight, Adam. We always fun to have you at the end of the race here up in the booth. And before we let you go, and you want to thank any shots you got to give here tonight?
Well, we'll see if me moving to people watching up to first this week gets them to start participate a little more next week. And then we'll go ahead and I'll risk going and sleeping in the little bed and moving my wife to second. So I hope everybody that's watching realizes the sacrifice I'm making for you guys right now. Thank Daniel for going ahead and putting this up together for us. Thank you guys for bringing it to us. All the guys out here, that's one thing we all anybody watching, figure it may not feel like it, but at the end of the day, it really is a group effort for everyone to put on these races and keep them as clean as they are and as fun as they are. So I just want to say, thanks to all the drivers for doing their part. And I know sometimes we get frustrated with each other or something like that, depending on what goes on the track. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's a group effort. So it's great seeing everybody do the right things out here to put on a good race. And I'll be looking at the chat next week, and I'll be having it going on with me again. And I'd like to see at least one other person participate.
Well, for sure. And again, we always glad to have you up here in the tracks, up in the booth. It's always a lot of fun. Again, congratulations. Like I said, that should keep you up in the points there, and we look forward to seeing what you can do next week as we move on to. I just had it. I do this all the time. Chicagoland next week.
No, that's 1.5 miles, which I have been good at so far this season. Can you tell me if there's a casino near there?
Chicagoland, I believe there is a casino nearby. So
far this season, that's a good omen.
I know for a fact if you guys were at Kansas, there is the Hollywood Casino right outside of Turn 1 of Kansas. So it doesn't look like you guys are going to go there until May 23rd. So, hey, there's another shot for you.
Hey, let's keep the casinos rolling in. And I'll keep on going.
Adam, have a great night. It was great talking to you.
You too. Appreciate y'all.
That was your third place finisher, Adam Gardner. Let's bring in your second place finisher, Justin McMahon. Justin, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, Josh.
Man, changing truck numbers here tonight moves you up a spot, up into the second position tonight. But overall, a great run for you. Another driver who kind of started in the mid pack, and for a moment there, it looked like he had a moment right at the beginning of the race where you got a little squirrely and able to hold on to it, and that looked like a moment for a moment there, but able to gather it back up and move yourself back up and get yourself up into the second. Talk about the race though. Was it a bit of strategy, or were you kind of banking on cautions because that we didn't get, or did you kind of figure you're going to run it out there the whole time?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, actually, I was just talking to Jonathan about it in the waiting room there. We're both kind of surprised that we had another Talladega race that went caution free. I don't know. The depending on if we had a caution or not, that was going to change our whole pit strategy. We knew that we could make it. It was going to be tight. I don't think we could save enough fuel to make it on only one pit stop. We couldn't stretch it enough. So we knew that we had to pit again. But a matter of when was going to be the next question. We needed to make sure that we had numbers with us. But I don't know. It was a little hectic there for a while. The strategy, I think, like I said, it kind of came into play with knowing if we had numbers or not coming down pit road. We didn't really want to pit with the whole group just because it's just a disaster if that goes the way, it can turn into a disaster. Let me put it that way. If you pit with the whole pack, just because it gets chaotic coming down into pit road, everyone checking up and stuff. So we didn't want to pit with the whole pack, but we also wanted to have enough trucks to get a good enough draft to keep us moving towards the front.
Yeah, there's one thing we saw. We saw that big giant pack of about 15 to 20 cars come down pit road at once, and like you said, it's absolutely hectic. But they were able to make it work, and yeah, that brings it back. You said it. It kind of surprised to have a caution-free race at Talladega. We did have the big one, but it happened after the white flag. Well, seeing that in your mirror, that must have been a little bit of a sigh of relief, knowing that you weren't going to have that big charge up on the high side that you were getting from Adam there.
Yeah, I just saw it out of the corner of my eye up in the mirror, and luckily I wasn't looking up there too much just because I knew, I couldn't go anywhere. So, and I knew that Adam was on my outside. So I was kind of boxed in there. So pretty much it just turned into me pushing Jonathan to the win. I'm just glad that the wreck happened behind me and not in front of me or next to me. So it was a lot of fun. And I don't know that when I got loose there early in the race, that must have looked a lot worse on the broadcast than it did in the truck. I didn't think it was that bad. I'll have to go back and look at it.
I just caught it. I caught it just towards the back of the pack. I'm like, somebody just got real out of shape, and you look like you moved about 2 lanes there. So
I probably got caught looking in my mirror. Is probably what I did.
And it's amazing how these trucks tend to get loose on the straightaways. But
yeah, it's crazy.
Well, a great run for you here again tonight. Another podium for you. Another good points night. We roll into Chicagoland next weekend. How do you like your chances at that little mile and a half?
I like Chicago. That's a fun track. Couple different grooves you can run there. So I think you're going to see a lot of guys trying the high side and guys running the bottom. So it's going to be another one on. It's going to be interesting. It should be a lot of fun. I think I like my chances there. I think. Just got to try to keep that 91 in my rear view. But other than that, yeah, I think we'll have a good run.
Well, keeping that 91 and that 56 in the rear view has been the tough one this season. But again, good luck next week. We look forward to talking to you again. And again, congrats on the top 2.
Yeah, thanks, Josh.
Have a great night.
Hey, you too.
That was your second place finisher, Justin McMahon. Let's bring in your winner now. Driver of the 91 getting his 4th win of the season. And I believe I heard his first super speedway win here in the Doghouse Racing League. Jonathan Jennings. Jonathan, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Oh, yeah.
So is that what it is? As your first super speedway win in the Doghouse League here?
Yeah, my luck's horrible at these things.
For sure.
I can run up front, but I can never finish them.
It is. It's a tough, I always say super speedway racing is kind of like playing chess backwards at 200 miles an hour because you kind of have to always know what's going on around you and make every move count and kind of pick and choose your moves and do them two or three, looks ahead. But getting the win here tonight, getting that great push from Justin McMahon. You kind of I talked about it at the beginning of the race. It looked like you were just kind of playing conservative. And I said, oh, it looks like he's just going to kind of ride in the middle of the pack. And next thing I know, you're up on the third lane, letting it hang out and battling for the lead. Was that strategy trying to get yourself up to the front, or were you just letting the race come to you and do what you had to do there?
I was on the third lane early, and we lost all our momentum, and I went to the back, and I just rode back there for a while, and then there's a big checkup on the bottom, and I went up there the second time, and I just went with it.
Well, a great run for you here tonight, getting the win, getting your fourth win of the season. I don't know if it's enough to put you ahead of Adam there, but man, you and him are having a great battle this season for the points. Next week, you guys move on to Chicago, and he says he likes that little 1.5-mile track. How do you like your chances next week at Chicagoland?
I like it. It's been good to me. I've won there a few times, I think, so hopefully I can do it again.
Well, we look forward to it, Jonathan. Great run again, getting the win. And last thing, in that last lap, coming off of turn 2, turn 3, excuse me. There's that big wreck there in the corner. Did you catch that in your mirror, and did that kind of give you a little bit of hope that you weren't going to have to battle so hard on the outside?
Yeah, it did, but my concern went to Justin clearing Adam and then him making a move, 'cause then I would have been sitting duck. But luckily, Adam was able to hang on his door, so he couldn't really do nothing.
Well, again, great run here tonight, Jonathan. Congratulations. And before I let you go, anyone thank any shots you got to give here tonight?
Yeah, you guys for the broadcast, Adam and Justin, all these guys really for a good race. Caution free is hard to do at these things, and Daniel and everybody that puts these races on, and all my teammates, of course.
Awesome, man. Well, again, good luck next week at Chicagoland. We appreciate you, and have yourself a great night.
Thank you, you too.
So there you have it. Your winner here tonight, Jonathan Jennings, getting it done at Talladega. Don't forget, this is a super speedway doubleheader. The SCSRA Truck Series is about to take on Daytona International Raceway for race number 2. It's going to be their first race of the season, but it's not for points. It's just their clash. So tune in for the Mission 22 Clash at Daytona in about a half-hour time. Of course, that's going to do it for us here tonight on Intensity Broadcasting. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Twitch. Don't forget to hit that like button, follow, and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell so you know anytime we go live here on Intensity Broadcasting. Don't forget to check out our great partners, raceepi.com, intensityracing.com, and the butt kicker, as our boy Atlee Atman Weiss would say, over and out.